So if you're cooking and you need to flip something, you use one of these. If you need to drive a nail into the wall, you use one of these. But for your side hustle, what tools can you use to be more successful and make more money? Don't worry. In this video, I got 12 awesome tools you should be using right now. Number one, let's just get you some work so you can start making some money. Reminds me of going through a deco to get some temp work when I first got out of college here. Now, these apps, Wonolo being our first one, is going to be basically just that. It's on-demand work that you can pretty much start immediately in your marketplace. Now, you can also check out GigSmart, which is similar, kind of on-demand work in your marketplace. Now, this also guarantees pay. So like Wonolo, you're signing up for a shift. Could be a little bit longer on the hours, like an actual traditional workday, and you're guaranteed pay. Platform number two, founded in 2017 by Adam Roseman and the Shaquille O'Neal. Pretty interesting. This is Steady. Now, this gives you financial insights. You just have to connect your bank and they're going to recommend work for you. Interesting thing about Steady is they might offer income boosters. So they'll say, hey, you can work on this platform. You can make this action as far as opening an account with this app, let's say, and they'll give you some cash incentives. Now, make sure to read the terms of the income boosters here. It's going to take some time to hit your account there. But you also get some community earnings data. So you can see, part-time, hourly, or on-demand work, and you'll know what you're gonna make. And Steady says, quote, "We are proud to say that today we are helping Steady's members earn on average greater than $5,500 more per year." Now, number three is something that just came out, I'd say a couple of weeks ago, if that, and this is something that I immediately jumped on because this is quite value added for your money. That is the Apple Card savings account, really a high yield savings account via Goldman Sachs. Now, obviously with a side hustle, I want you to pay down debts, obviously cover the base living expenses first and foremost. But if you're doing this for extra cash, firstly, I don't want you to spend it all because you have to set aside like 20-30% for taxes. Keep that in mind. But the margin that you are going to have, sure, have some fun with it, but still, I would not spend it all. Consider a high yield savings account. With a 4.15 annual percentage yield, the APY on this account, that is very good, and that is also compounded interest. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be this Apple Card savings account, but that 4.15% is very attractive. I did see one from Citizens, as reported from Forbes, at 4.25%, but a high yield savings account is a must in my opinion. Number four, let's turn our attention to physical products, physical tools that'll help you with your side hustle. And there's a lot, and you don't have to invest a lot for this stuff. Food delivery, I think you need probably number one, a better hot and cold bag. The $8 one from DoorDash, it's got to fall apart after a few weeks, months at least. And if you don't want to give free advertising to these companies, that might be better, but the installation is going to be better. Get a catering bag next, a pizza bag. If you're doing grocery apps, Shipt and Instacart, consider a rolling wagon. Excellent for those massive apartment complexes. You can load the 24 count of water in that thing. You can load the 8 bags of groceries. You can also get these grocery hooks. Other general accessories I would get, obviously your phone chargers, power cords for your vehicle, a phone holder. Consider a power bank as well. You can have that just to have something portable. Some kind of cooler or lunchbox if you're going to do longer shifts there. Also something that's really a must in my opinion with a lot of these gig apps because you're going to be moving unless it's rideshare where you're just sitting there, but everything else, get some good shoe insoles. Number 5 is the Solo app. Now this one is very interesting as they're actually guaranteeing pay. Solo seem to have some pretty big claims and numbers here. I put in a quote for here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Let's say I did all of these platforms. If I'm doing let's say 15 hours a week, I know a lot of gig workers are doing less, but I just threw in 15 there. It said I could earn an average of $193 more per month. And I know it might not sound like a lot, but that can go to, again, credit card bills, groceries, cost of living, or that savings account. But even more macro, they say, quote, take home $5,000 plus more a year for the average app-based worker. Now, this is also going to have your mileage tracking, your tax reporting, and income reporting for you. Now, here's the thing with Solo is you need to reserve or at least put your schedule, I'll say, on the platform. So in their app, you need to say, well, I'm working DoorDash for 2 hours today, but an hour is going to equal 1 credit. Based on their monthly plans, they have a reasonable plan, $11.99 per month. That's going to give you 20 credits. Again, a credit equals an hour. So in essence, 20 hours of work for the month. Again, they say, quote, our users that optimize their schedules with their smart schedule feature earn 20% more on average. Now, doing my research on Solo, they did say you have to accept 1 order per scheduled hour. That should be fine, but that does give me some concerns of multi-apping. Also, if you have to use a credit and you're paying for a monthly subscription, it is tax deductible, so we'll give them that. But then I would have to use a credit for DoorDash and Uber Eats, so consider that if you multi-app a lot. So remember when I told you have to set aside like 20 to 30% for taxes? I'm sorry, that's what it is. You're 1099, so you have to pay taxes on that as it's not withheld as it would be if you're a W-2 employee. Now, you might also have to pay quarterly taxes. Estimated tax liability, we'll say, because you're paying that in the current year. So when it's next year and you get all your 1099s, you're filing, you're reporting and submitting your tax returns, that you'll have some of that already paid, so you're not surprised, or at least have a very high tax liability. 2 places you can do that: the EFTPS system or the IRS's website. Super simple. I've used both. So EFTPS, the Electronic Federal Tax Payment System, this is directly through the U.S. Department of Treasury. Now, talk to your CPA or tax professional. I am not either. I cannot give you legal tax advice if you must or should pay quarterly taxes, but it can be a good idea, especially if you're making more money on these apps. I've talked about a few mileage tracking and expense apps, but really all of them have a monthly pay plan. So if you don't want to pay every single month, but you do want to track very important metrics and mileage, just get our earnings tracking spreadsheet at yourdrivermike.com. The good thing about this is it's more hands-on. You're going to enter that data yourself so you can see the trends every single day. You're not going to forget about it when it's on autopilot. And this is specifically designed by a gig worker for you, other gig workers, to show actual data that you really want to see. Things like how many average assignments am I getting? What is my average tip from my customer? How frequently are they tipping? Of course, business miles using the latest deduction from 2023, but also things like bonus pay and average bonus pay, and all of that calculates automatically so you don't have to worry about programming any formulas. Number 8, let's talk about another mileage tracking app, Everlance. Now, this does have a free option. Some of these do, but it only has 30 auto-detectable trips. The only problem I've had with some auto trip detection is it's not always super accurate, starting, ending trips, detecting a trip, but for just $8 a month or $5 if billed annually, that's not too big of an investment. Number 9, another very simple mileage tracking app, MileIQ, gives you 40 free drives to start and a very reasonable $5.99 monthly cost. Number 10, let's talk about saving gas, which is critical to run an efficient driving business. Doesn't really matter. If you're using your personal vehicle, you need to pay attention to gas, obviously, unless you're using an EV. Now, DoorDash is now integrated with Gasbuddy. So if you happen to not be driving on DoorDash, just look into the Gasbuddy app. Waze has gas reporting as well, as does Google Maps. You can also look into different rewards cards, like the Amazon Flex, for instance. A debit card gives you 2 to 5% cash back on both EV charging and gas. And also, quick heads up, the Uber debit card that used to give you decent cash back on gas, that benefit was discontinued this year, January 2023. Number 11, really, if you want a very comprehensive tracker, this is Gridwise. So like some of the other apps and platforms, they're going to give you that earnings insight data based on their other users. But they're also going to give you data on where to drive, when to drive, and comparative data on other platforms, what might pay you more for that day. Now, keep in mind, some apps like Uber just do this natively. They'll they'll give you this data. They'll say, hey, today's going to be busiest at this time, or today seems to be a lot busier than last Monday, whatever it is. And of course, you're getting hot zones for a lot of these apps combined with your market knowledge, so consider that before signing up. Of course, you get mileage tracking. Now, for deeper analytics and exporting reports, it is going to be $9.99 a month. And lastly is the Stride mileage tracking app. Another good, simple, basic mileage tracker. Again, one of those more basic platforms. The only thing with Stride is they're actually an insurance provider giving gig workers health benefit options, vision, dental. So do prepare for some upsells, I would imagine, if you download their app. But you also get some reporting, so something to consider.